Good afternoon, MRU viewers. Thank you so much for watching us. Please endeavor to subscribe and watch our news online, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at MRU TV Kakeka. Here's the international news brought to you by VUBYA EDGAR. UN condemns reckless Iraq rocket attack. UN declares over 80 million people get displaced every year worldwide. The death toll arises as severe winter storms USA. North Korea First Lady appears for the first time in a year. UN declares over 80 million people get displaced worldwide. The number of displaced people is on an increase in the world due to the persecution, conflicts, and human rights violations worldwide, declares the UN agency refugee. Let's get the reporter giving us the full details.
Over 80 million people get displaced worldwide. UN Refugee Agency has estimated that the number of forcibly displaced people surpassed 80 million at mid-year. The UN Refugee Agency reported that 79.5 million people had been forced from their own homes due to persecution, conflicts, and human rights violation. That number includes 29 million refugees, 4.2 million asylum seekers, as well as 45.7 million internally displaced people who are displaced to the other parts of their countries, according to the UN Refugee Report. Forced displacement is vastly more widespread and common today. The world's biggest conflicts are driving this, and they must be put to an end. The UN Refugee Agency said the annual increase was as a result of the worrying new displacement in the Democratic Republic, the war-torn Yemen, and Syria, which alone account for the sixth of the world displacement.
UN condemns reckless Iraq rocket attack. UN has warned tension may arise due to the rocket attack that killed a US military contractor. Let's get the story in detail.
UN condemns reckless Iraq rocket attack as US weighs response. The attack in the Kurdish regional capital of northern Iraq, late on Monday, was the first in nearly 2 months, which was directed at the Western military in Iraq as a series of similar incidents. Such reckless acts give threats to stability, says the UN's top representative in Iraq, Jeanine Thanas, on his Twitter handle, calling for restraint on all sides. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken earlier said he was outraged and pledged American support in holding those responsible to account. In a separate statement later on Tuesday, Blinken and his counterparts from France, Germany, Italy, and the UK condemned in the strongest terms the attack and promised to support the Iraq investigation team. Senyondo Paul, giving you the news on MRU TV.
Death toll arises as severe winter hits USA. Let's get that story in detail.
More than 20 storm-related deaths registered as storm warnings issued in parts of Oklahoma, Mississippi, Tennessee, Texas, and Arkansas. Millions are without power as a winter storm grips the southern and central United States, with death toll rising to 20 from record-breaking cold weather. More than 2,700 US flights had been cancelled by midday on Tuesday, led by 2 Texas airports, with more than 800 cancelled at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport and more than 700 at Bush Intercontinental in Houston. In Texas, where freezing conditions prompted utility companies to implement rotating blackouts, a woman and girl died from carbon dioxide poisoning after using a car to generate heat. In Houston on Monday, a homeless man was killed possibly from exposure, according to Harris County Sheriff Department, and city's police chief said another man had been found dead after potential exposure to low temperatures. President Joe Biden on Tuesday vowed to provide additional emergency resources for those affected by historic storm. Waswa Hassan, MRU TV.
The North Korean First Lady appears to the public for the first time in a year. Let's have the story in detail.
The wife of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has appeared in public for the first time in over a year, according to state media. Ri So-jul joined her husband at a concert on Tuesday to mark the birthday of Kim's late father and former leader Kim Jong-un. Mrs. Ri has often accompanied Mr. Kim to major events in the past, but had not been since January last year. Her absence stoked speculation over her health or a potential pregnancy. South Korea's intelligence service had reportedly told congressmen yesterday that Mrs. Ri was avoiding appearing in public due to concerns over COVID-19 and may have been spending time with her children. North Korea has not officially reported any COVID-19 cases, though experts say this is unlikely. Mrs. Ri comes from an upper-class family, with her father being a professor and her mother being an obstetrician, according to analyst Chiang Seong-chang. Media reports say Mrs. Ri, who is reportedly aged 31, was previously a singer in the Universal Orchestra, an elite troupe whose members are handpicked by the state. Mr. Chung adds that she is believed to have married Mr. Kim in 2009, with the marriage arranged in a hurry by late father Kim Jong-il after he suffered a stroke in 2008. According to South Korean intelligence, the couple have 3 children together.
Boeing lied about 737 MAX after 2 deadly crashes, shareholders say. Shareholders claim that Boeing's board and CEO took part in the misleading the public relations campaign following the 2 deadly crashes. Both crashes are currently under investigation and there is no final word on what caused either tragedy. The investigators are focused on the specific tech feature that may have forced both planes into a nosedive seconds before the crash. The shareholders also claim that the board ignored the red flags about the 737 MAX and it didn't develop its own tools to evaluate its safety. The executive officer, Daniel Malzberg, is also accountable for the launching and lobbying the public relations effort to push back the criticisms. I'm Nabkal Ruth, MRU TV.
COVID-19 infections have hit 1 million confirmed, with the death of total reaching to 2.43 million. In South Africa, they have 1,210 new cases, taking the total reported to 1.19. Deaths have reached 48,313, a daily increase of 219, while recoveries have climbed to 1.15, balance of 48,885 active cases. J&J vaccine in South Africa has received the first delivery of the Johnson vaccine for Alatabo International Airport last night. 500,000 J&J doses are expected to be arrive over the next 4 weeks, with other 20 million doses of the Pfizer vaccine expected to be received at the end of March 2021. Thank you for listening.
After sexism law sparkled by Tokyo Olympics chief is saying women talk too much at meetings, Japanese ruling party has said it wants women to attend key meetings, but only if they don't talk. The new proposal says that the ruling Liberal Democratic Party will allow 5 female legislators to join the party's main meetings as observers. Toshihiro Nakai, the party's Secretary General, said on Tuesday that he had heard criticism that the party's board was male-dominated. The female observers will be allowed to speak during the meetings but will be able to submit opinions separately to the Secretariat Office, as reported by the daily newspaper Nick. This is because Yoshiro Mori, the head of Tokyo 2020 Olympics Organizing Committee, resigned last week amid worldwide outrage over derogatory comments he made about women, claiming they spoke too much at meetings and made them too long. Japan is ranked as 121st out of 153 countries on the World Economic Forum's 2020 Global Gender Gap Index, the worst among advanced countries, scoring poorly on women's economic participation and political empowerment. Thanks for listening. I'm Nakan Kate, MRU TV.
This has been VUBYA EDGAR, giving you the international news on MRU TV. Please endeavor to keep subscribing and watch us live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter as MRU at Kakeka. Thank you so much for watching.